Good afternoon, everybody. Charles Rather again with you, managing partner at AmLaw Group, where we focus on making your transition to the U.S. as successful and seamless and problem-free as possible. Today, I wanted to talk about EB-5 and rural projects. As you all know, the new law for EB-5 that was passed in 2022 included a provision that allowed for expedited processing of projects and their investors that are located in rural areas. So a lot of people were kind of afraid, well, rural area, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's like maybe some farm or a poultry farm or something like that. Not at all. It couldn't even be farther from the truth. What you're seeing since the new law was passed, and I'm sure we're going to see more of this development as we go forward, is you're going to see a lot more projects in these areas because there's a lot of demand for them. Because investors, if they have a choice between investing in a typical project, that's maybe in a typical TEA zone, maybe in a city or something. Well, okay, they invest $800,000 like a rural area, but there's no expedited processing. So they're probably going to have to wait 2 or 3 years. Moreover, if you're from a country that is retrogressed, such as India, China, Vietnam, there's also that line to deal with. Whereas with rural projects, there's a set aside every year. 20% of the visas get allocated to those projects. So the line is going to move a lot faster. There's not going to be that retrogression that you've seen for people from some of these countries if you're investing in a rural project. That's the first bonus. The second bonus is if you've got a rural project, it's going to get expedited. Last year, early this year, we didn't know how much they're going to expedite the review of these cases. Now, in the fall of 2023, we've had enough time go by and we see what they're doing. And actually, I think most immigration lawyers are quite impressed by what USCIS is doing. They're moving along these cases quite quickly. We don't have a guarantee that they're going to review every rural project in 6 months or less, but what we've been seeing on the market, people getting approved in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, is very promising. So it shows that USCIS is allocating extra resources to these rural projects to get them through the pipeline faster than others. Now, it's not quite fair for all the other people that maybe invested 2 or 3 years ago and have been waiting for 2 or 3 years. Yeah, maybe it wasn't a rural project, but they took their place in line earlier. So if I were an investor that had invested back in 2019 or something, I would be a little bit upset. But it is what it is, and this is, the realities that we have to deal with right now. And as of right now, in the fall of 2023, we're seeing very quick reviews going on for rural projects. And I think going forward, what that means is we're going to see more and more demand for that. And you're going to see more and more projects in these rural areas. So that was the intent of Congress. And I think they actually did a good job in this regards, that if their intent was to get more money into these rural areas, that is definitely going to happen. Because if investors have an opportunity to get their approval in 6 or 7 months, as opposed to waiting 2 or 3 years, you don't have to be Einstein to understand where the money's going to go. So there's a lot of rural projects out there right now, and there's going to be more in the future. And these aren't in the middle of nowhere in the boonies or something. These are projects maybe in suburban cities like Atlanta. Recently, a very big project we visited. Beautiful project, very built up. There's a waiting list for the homes that they're building there. And it's only an hour drive from Atlanta, which isn't that far. There's also a big interest, and I think we'll see more of this, in recreational facilities in rural areas, especially ski resorts. There was one ski resort, again, that project's all filled up, but they had approvals within 6 months, and that was up in Montana. We've got another regional center we work with a lot. They're opening up the project very soon in Colorado, close to a ski resort there, a new condo living facility there, residential facility. And again, great resort, very affluent area, but there's just not a lot of people there. And so it qualifies for a rural project and qualifies for the expedited processing. So if you've been thinking about EB-5 and maybe the time frames kind of got you scared, and I can understand why they would, because since 2019 with COVID and the changes in the law, it's really delays things a lot. But this is one silver lining right now in the world of EB-5, that if you're investing in a rural project, we're going to be seeing a lot of movement and a lot of money going into those types of projects in the future. And remember, under the new law, if you've got, a tourist visa and you can get to the US, we can file for your adjustment of status 90 days after you arrive. And so while everything's getting reviewed, you're waiting for your decision, you can get work permit here, you can get travel authorization, and spend all your time here while you're waiting for your visa to get approved. If this was helpful to you, we'd appreciate it if you would put a like next to this video, or even better yet, subscribe to our channel to get updates going forward. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, or better yet, go to our site, amlawglobal.com, to sign up for a consultation or ask any questions you might have. Until next time, this was Charles Rather.